Hello, everyone. Welcome to the newest podcast about kayak bass fishing in the nation. If you're here to talk kayaks and kayak fishing, you're in the right spot. Your host, John Suits, brings you into the exciting world of Greenfish Nation and all it has to offer. We will have special guests from product manufacturers as well as the end users from the ground level angler up to the big boy pros. The show starts right now, so get your paddles ready and let's get started.
Well, hello, guys. I am your host here on Greenfish Nation, Beyond the Paddle, and I want to welcome you to the show tonight. I'm trying to get this off here. All right. Hello, guys. My name is John. I am the host of Beyond the Paddle here with Greenfish Nation, coming to you once again live from the Beyond the Paddle studios here in Point, Texas. Guys, tonight our podcast is brought to you by Pride Rods. We have our very first Pride Rod winner through our big fish competition in our Californias and our Texas trails. He'll be joining us just a little bit later, but I want to thank you for joining us. Without any further ado, guys, I have the California Anglers on. So I'm going to bring those guys in. I also have the couple of the state reps, Mark Cook and Ryan Murphy. I believe he stepped away from the camera a moment, but Facebook user says, hello, fellas. I want to welcome all of y'all. Thank y'all for the ones that could join us. And thank you for fishing with us. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, John.
So, Pooh, this is your first time with us here, right?
That is correct.
Fishing and on the podcast. We appreciate you joining us.
Thanks for
Ryan has popped back in here. Thank you for jumping back on, Ryan.
Sorry, cut me out, guys.
Yeah. So I hear the Delta was pretty tough this weekend for, I guess you'd say, a lot of you. So, quite a few of you caught some pretty good fish. Big fish was 20 3/4 and had a 84-inch bag, 68 3/4, 52 1/2, 44 1/2, 44 1/4, and a 41 3/4. So seemed like it was a little tough in places, but I guess that's fishing, huh?
Yeah, it was tough, period, for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So is the Delta normally that tough?
Where we were positioned, normally I would catch 30 to 50 fish a day.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not used to fishing at this time of the year, nor after some severe storms like what we've had. So there was a lot of mud suspended in the water, and I think it just pushed the fish deeper into the weeds.
I see.
So
I know we had some concerns with the rivers running and everything. Did y'all find that to be challenging, or was it less than we anticipated? What was the skinny on that?
I wasn't really in. Darren and I were fishing together, and where we were at, we were near Frank's track, and the water definitely seemed high compared to normal. But I would say that we'd have to ask these other guys to see if they crossed anywhere where those kind of river systems were coming through, because I didn't see that, but you could definitely tell on our way that the water was moving. So maybe they can fill you in on that.
Yeah, well, y'all jump in and let us know what you think about the river situation there.
When I drove over Tower Park, you could tell that it was really high. And I noticed that last weekend too. But I didn't know that it didn't really look all that high where I was. And I was able to find some pretty clear water, probably 5-foot visibility in some places. But then I ran into some that was only about a foot visibility too. So,
yeah. Darren, how was it for you?
it was the current was normal where we were at. We're just dealing with the tide pretty much, but it was just, like I said, a lot of suspension in the water. I was able to travel north out of Russo's and go across the lake to the islands on the north end, and I found a little bit cleaner water where stuff wasn't suspended, and I caught a steelhead, but still wasn't finding the bass.
I see. Pooh, what about you? What did you think about the conditions?
So where I was at, I was a little further up north. I did run into some debris, but nothing heavy, like no trees or anything like that. If anything, the worst thing I probably saw was like a branch, but most of it was like washed out, like tules or cattails, and just a lot of like excess trash from, I guess, people that litter, I guess. But other than that, didn't run into anything major. I mean, I was fishing really dirty water, like Mark said, like about a foot visibility at most. So the area I was at, it's always consistently a little bit dirtier. So yeah, that's the conditions where I was.
Yeah. So okay. So it wasn't terrible, but it was just a little more stained water than normal.
Yeah. Right.
So Pua, we'll go back with you if you don't mind sharing how you caught your fish. Like what techniques you were using and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
I'd
for sure.
appreciate it.
I'll just go ahead and recap my day.
Okay, that sounds great. We'll just do that amongst y'all.
Yeah. So the week before, I did really good. There was wind, which I like out on the Delta. It kind of puts these fish into a kind of more biting mood, if you'd say. But Saturday was super calm in the morning. No, not a breath of wind. And right then and there, I kind of knew that it was going to be trouble because I specifically like to fish reaction baits, specifically a chatterbait. And there was two key areas for me, which was a rock bank with sparse grass and then a grass flat. And I went to the grass flat first, and it was slick calm there. And after throwing the chatterbait for like 30 minutes, I started to throw finesse. I started throwing a Senko drop shot. Couldn't get anything to go, and I was like, I got to get out of here. But backtracking, I was doing 2 tournaments that day, so so I only had a limit of 2.5 hours to fish the Delta, and I knew that I would do good if there was wind, which there was not. And on top of that, with no wind, incoming tide, the tide about dropping out, I knew that, especially this time of the season, that's usually a very bad tide to fish. So going back, so I fished my first area, and then I went back, and then I went to my next area, and I had about, like, I don't know, 40 minutes left to fish before I had to get out and go to the second tournament. So I went and kind of pound the rocky bank, and I caught 3 within 30 minutes. And it kind of told me that, I think the bite window has opened. But I was out of time. So after I caught those 3 fish, I gave myself another 10 minutes to kind of push, and I couldn't get a bite after that. And I believe during that time when I got those 3 fish, the tide had switched to outgoing tide, but it was still calm where I was at, no wind. But I think that kind of forced that tide turnover kind of forced those fish to bite. But yeah, by the time I caught my 3rd fish, which was a solid 19-incher, I knew that I had to get out of there to make it to my second tournament, and that was kind of my day.
Well, Pooh, I tell you what, I appreciate that recap, and more than that, I appreciate you giving us that little bit of your time that you had that day, because I know you had a lot more on the line at the other tournament, and I know you had a drive to get to it, but I really do appreciate you fishing with us. I appreciate you, like I told you last night on Messenger, and I want to tell you in person, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to earn your trust in me and Greenfish Nation. We look forward to seeing you on a lot more leaderboards with us
I'm
throughout
gonna
the
try,
season.
John.
I know you are. I know you're a busy man, but I do sincerely mean that. I do appreciate your trust in me, all of you guys that are fishing with us. But Darren,
Sure.
you want to talk about how your day went on the Delta?
Yeah. Me and Ryan, we launched together. We shot out of Russo's. We went straight to the north, hit a couple grass points, and from there worked our way south. I had to turn back around. I can't remember what I forgot in the truck, but I forgot something in the truck. So I had to run back and get that. And by the time I went to catch up with Ryan, he was way down the river. So I came back down and started fishing some of the docks. There was another gentleman that was meeting up with us out there. He was just coming out to fish for the day. And he was meeting us further down south. But I plunked away at the docks throwing spinner baits and Senkos. So I was throwing two different color spinner baits. I was throwing a white spinner bait with a Kitech trailer. And then I was throwing a red and black spinner bait with red and orange blades.
Yeah.
No trailer on that. I throw it 3 times with the white, throw it 3 times with the black, follow it up with a Senko, throw a crankbait at stuff that I could throw crankbaits at. I threw a few glide baits, threw a jig, just wasn't getting fish to react. I wasn't pulling fish out of the docks. I know there was fish underneath those docks. I just wasn't getting them to react. So I had really given up on the docks and told myself I was just going to fish the grass. I was going to throw spinner baits the rest of the day and just power fish. I was just going to power fish the rest of the day. I'm just looking for bigger fish, just looking for fish that are actively biting, chasing bait. So I ran around. Finally went out to the open area, the open lake area, and started fishing some of that. I was finding little isolated clumps of grass and just growth that was just out in the middle of nowhere and trying to fish around those. I found the tiniest clump that was probably 3 feet around in diameter, and I threw past it the first time and snagged up on grass. So reeled it back in, threw back out to the same exact spot, popped it twice, and a steelhead took off with it. And it took off with it. I knew it wasn't a bass right away. I actually thought it was an otter or something. I just knew it wasn't a bass. It didn't even feel like it was a fish. It just had a totally different feel to it. And I set the hook. The fish jumped out of the water like 5-6 feet, and I played with that. But that was the only action I had all day.
Yeah, so tough.
And I ran my I ran my battery dead. I had to come back paddling. It died about, I don't know, maybe an eighth of a mile from the dock. So I was just sitting there cruising at the end of the day. And I don't want to say we picked a bad spot to launch from, but it wasn't the most convenient because we had to wait for a boat tournament to completely get done weighing in and get all their boats off the water. And it was a good hour just sitting there waiting. So
I see.
Yeah.
So tough day on the Delta. Have you ever fished the Delta before?
Yeah. I've actually fished that spot probably 4 or 5 times, but it was last year during the spring and the summer, and it was later in the spring, towards the end of May, June, July, and I did not get anything of what I was expecting. I really expected to go down there. We were going to catch 25, 30 fish, and just try and weed out the thin ones, and didn't work that way, unfortunately.
I hear you. So Gustavo just popped in on us there. Thank you for joining us. I'll give you a quick kind of a catch up type deal. We spoke with Pua and we spoke with Darren about the Delta, kind of what I guess you'd say a recap of their day, how they fished and all that. So have you fished the Delta before?
The Delta is I live like 5 minutes away from it.
Okay, so I would say you probably have then. So
yeah. No, I mean the Delta right now is weird because it's I've been talking to Pooh a lot, and I've been telling him how like you could go out there and skunk one day, but then you can go out the next and be like, what the hell? Where did all these fish come from?
Yeah.
Wait, I think I lost you guys. I don't see myself on this. How can I go back?
Right.
Oh, there we go.
All right.
But So entering this tournament, I was like, man, like F the Delta right now because it's rough. I haven't been able to fish. I've been working too much.
Oh
So
yeah.
I decided, yeah. So I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna go down in this tournament and skunk, I'd rather skunk somewhere I've never been before. And I'd feel better than going to, my natural places I like to go all the time. And I just went out and I found something where like I was like, damn, like there was nothing. I didn't get no bites until like 10 o'clock, and I only got 6 bites from 10 o'clock to like 10:37, and then from 10:37 till 3, I didn't catch anything.
Yeah.
But I think what happened was when the tide was turning for me. When it started to hit the top of the high and started going out, that's when I was like, damn, this is kind of weird because I all of a sudden I got a bite and kept going. Then the stupid beaver got in my way and kept everywhere I wanted to cast. He was in my way. But then I kind of just let him go, and I started eating tuna. I had tuna in my freaking kayak, so I started eating tuna, let the beaver go by, let the water reset, and then I was like, damn, I got a bite here. There has to be more, because if you get bit in one area, you're gonna get bit again.
Yeah.
So after the stupid beaver left, just kept throwing the black and blue Senko, and then I caught another fish, and then I was like, damn, why is there no boats here? It's like 3 feet of water, I was like, well, I don't see any boats here, and I'm getting bit over here out of all the places I was. And then that's when I caught a 20-incher. I caught a 19. Right after that, I caught my limit within like 20 minutes. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to let this water reset. It was literally like 40 yards. I left. I went to go take a break at the bank, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go back. And when I went back, everything I fished was out of the water. So I was like, oh,
yeah.
that's why there's no boats out here. But I think the fish come out because there was like this bottleneck that led into this area that you couldn't get into. And I think on the high, those fish, that's their habitat. They come out to eat on the high, and then as it starts going out, they start moving back in.
And start pushing back out.
Yeah, and
So
I mean that's all I found.
Yeah, so you had a 20 3/4, which was our big fish for the tournament. By the way, congratulations on
thank
on
you.
the win and also on the big fish of the tournament. You'll be our first recipient of the Pride Rod, and you've sent me your address, and I've forwarded that over to the proper place, and
Yes, sir. Thank you.
should be receiving a rod. I do know you had asked me last night about specific rods or whatever, and this is a competition series rod, and then you can upgrade to, I think the next level is like $75 and the next level's maybe 150, but
Oh no,
I'll get all that information to you. So
yeah, I just didn't want to receive like no 12-foot rod. I don't use any 12-foot rods, so I was like,
well,
could
they're
I
not
just get
gonna,
like
yeah,
a
they're not
7-foot
gonna
medium heavy spine, medium light? No, but it's all good, man. Appreciate that.
You bet. So you said you were catching them, I guess at the peak of the tide. What were you using, if you don't mind us?
Oh man, I'll tell you what I threw. I threw a spinner bait. I threw a drop shot. I threw a rig. I was flipping. I was punching.
You threw your whole tackle box at them, huh?
Yeah, and then I was like, fuck. And then I was like, for me, black and blue laminate Senkos, that's like my number one. I mean, that's like my go-to since the beginning. And I was like, well, if I'm not gonna get bit, I have to get bit on this. And if they don't bite this, then it's over. There's nothing I could do because at this point I already went through 7 rods. I tried to get that reaction bite. I even started like fishing the drop shot, the Senko, like a jerk bait, where I've because it works sometimes. I've done it where like I'll like reel it in real quick, stop, reel it in real quick, and I've gotten bites like that. I was like, I was even trying that, and I did get a bite on that too. But I mean, that's all it was. I used like a 5/6, no, like 1/32 ounce tungsten weight, which is super small.
Right.
But just so when it hits the water and I feel the tick, I feel it better versus a weightless. Because a weightless, sometimes I'm not paying attention. It's windy. My kayak is turning. I'm not paying attention to the line, So with that one little super small weight, I always feel a tick. And those 6 ticks I felt all day was on point, except for the first one because I couldn't believe I was getting a bite. I was like, what the hell is a bite? And I lost it. And then on my third fish, I was putting the net and I put my hand over him and he just flopped off. And I was like, shit. Well, I can't get mad. I got 2 fish and nobody's posting anything out. So,
Yeah.
if I had to turn in 2 fish today, that's it. It's all good. But I lost one off the board, which he didn't help much, but he would have, just in case I didn't catch that 5th one, he would have been my 5th that I would have lost and would
Right.
have stayed
That would
with
have been
4.
your 5th. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So sometimes you're talking about that throwing that Cinco. I do the same thing here in Texas a lot. I throw that pardon me. I'll throw that Cinco Texas rig, or a lot of times I'll throw it weightless and
Yeah.
twitch it just like I would a jerk bait, twitch, 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 and then pause, and then twitch, twitch, pause, kind of mix
Oh,
it up,
yeah.
and that works really well here in Texas. I suspect it probably works pretty much everywhere like that. But yeah, Cinco's a very versatile bait. You can do lots of things with it, So
You can punch it too with the ounce and a
absolutely,
quarter,
yep,
ounce and a half.
yep, you sure can. Well, Ryan, we'll get you on here, and you can tell us a little breakdown of your day.
Well, I think Darren kind of told you kind of how our day was. We were kind of fishing pretty much fishing in the same area. And the Delta has the best of me. I either go on the Delta and I'll have a good day, or I do horrible. And it was just one of those days where I did horrible. And I was running live scope and looking everywhere for fish. And I never really found active fish besides stripers. And I basically threw everything in my tackle box. Yeah, anything I could think of to try to get a bite. And it just wasn't my day. And on the Delta, and that's just how the Delta goes for me. So it didn't surprise me, and it was just one of those things that's, a day fishing is better than a day working, so I can't complain.
Yeah,
That's just how it went.
Well, Mark, you want to tell us about your day?
Yeah, I started up White Slough, and because it's pretty much backwater and not a lot of movement, and I found a little. I went about 2 hours without a bite, and come about 9 o'clock, I pulled into this spawning flat, and it was really wide and probably only about, at that point, 3 feet deep, with about 1.5 foot of weeds in it. And then I came along and I caught 2 fish right off the bat. As I was going down the bank, a bass boat was coming the other direction from a tournament from Southern California. And he saw me catch my 2 fish, and he was just getting ready to leave. He put his trolling motor back down and proceeded to catch about 4 fish right in front of me in the direction I was going. So
that's always great when that happens.
Yeah, he told me he wanted me to leave him some, and I said no, I wasn't going to leave him any, and he decided to not leave me any. So I kept on going down that direction. He caught it. All the fish that were coming out of there were about the same size, about 14 and a half, 15 inches. And I caught one right after the other. And then I just watched him just bring in about 4 fish, all the same size. So all bucks coming in there looking, to make beds and stuff.
Right.
And then I kept on going down the bank, and so that was about 9 o'clock. And then I think about 11:30, I tagged into another one in pretty much just along some tules and stuff. But I got all my fish on spinner baits. Yeah. And then later I was going down a riprap bank and I was throwing a chatterbait, and I was actually really close. I was bringing it out. I was probably in about 8 feet of water, and I had a small fish come up and hit it there. So I started. He was in about 8 feet of water, so I was thinking maybe they were out a little bit deeper, and started throwing some cranks along in there, and I didn't get any more fish. But so I just had those 4 bites and 3 fish in.
Yeah, so you had a 15 and a quarter, a 14 and a half, and a 14 and a half for a total of 44 and a quarter inches.
Yeah.
So just to give you guys a recap, I'm sure y'all have already looked at all the stats, but we had 12 anglers. We caught 22 fish. And like I said, the big fish was Gustavo Rojas with 20 3/4. We had an 18 and a half, 17 and a half, and 14. That 20 3/4 and a 15 1/4 were our hourly big fish. So overall, I mean, a limit. It would have definitely made things a little more interesting, but I always enjoy watching the leaderboards and seeing who's put up what and who's having a good day, who's having a tough day. But you know, those tough days, they'll teach you if you'll listen to them.
Yeah.
I think it's tough out here right now because I think that a lot of these fish are getting ready to transition for the spawn. And it's kind of like it seemed talking to people on other lakes, not just the Delta. It kind of seemed like everyone's kind of struggling a little bit here. Yeah.
The weather has just started to warm up.
I see.
This last week. So
yeah, so Clear Lake is next. You guys all excited for Clear Lake?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Always.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll be tired on that one, but yep, it'll be fun.
That one will be open launch too.
Yes, as far as I know, all of them will be open launch. That's kind of how we have things set out, unless like this Delta tournament. Mark and Ryan and I had actually been talking for 2 weeks before the tournament due to the rainfall you guys had and the potential for snow melt, I guess, there in the Sierras and runoff and all. Our number one goal, besides you guys having a good time and enjoying yourself, is your safety. So we had considered making a couple launch points, but as the weather played on and Mark and Ryan were monitoring the Delta throughout that 2 weeks, and we made the final decision on Thursday night to go ahead and just leave it open launch. But other than that, I don't have any plans of doing any shotgun starts or anything like that. I just want people to fish how they want to fish, where they want to fish at, be safe and have a good time.
We did have a couple fatalities the week before our tournament.
Yeah, I read that. 2
guys in a bass boat hit a log up around Tower Park in that high water and perished. Their son was wearing a life jacket and he survived. So
yeah.
But
that's tragic, but that's why PFDs are so important. It takes 2 seconds to put one on when you're not trying to rush and put one on. You know what I mean? I hate to hear that, but that happens all over the country. It's just kind of like people wearing their seatbelt, not wearing their seatbelt. Me being a paramedic, I see that almost every shift where somebody should have been wearing their seatbelt, or sometimes I see where somebody should have been wearing a PFD and they're not, but, guys, I really want to thank y'all. I can't thank you enough for, like I said, for trusting me and trusting the organization. I'm enjoying doing this for you guys. I know a couple of you guys I haven't spoke with before. Did y'all have any issues with payouts or timeliness or anything like that?
No, sir.
Nope.
Okay.
As soon as you sent me a message about my information, I think I took longer responding to you than you sending me the money.
Okay. Well,
That's but that's
I-
pretty
I-
cool, man. I've never done your guys' circuit, so I did it right away. And sometimes from the past, it's questionable sometimes, but this one everything was pretty cool, man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, is there anything that myself or Mark or Ryan could do to make y'all's experience better? Pua, Darren, or Gustavo, could we do anything more to improve or do anything different?
No, I mean, one suggestion I think me and Ryan were talking about was maybe just making some kind of a actual identification tag instead of us just. I mean, the plain paper works nice, but I noticed some of our pictures get posted on the page and such, and I think if we had some kind of a tournament tag that kind of represented who we are, who we're fishing with, and our sponsors on there as well.
Yeah. So I will tell you this. I do have a GFN tag. I will be adding to that. My goal is to get all the points caught up, which I'm only like y'all's tournament and the Mississippi State tournament. I'm going to have them on tomorrow night. I'll get all y'all's points posted, and not only posted to the Facebook page, but also to my website, which is greenfishnation.com. And I will add Pride rods to that as well. So I have that available for you as a downloadable PDF, but
Okay.
I don't require it.
Okay.
I know some organizations do require that. I would like for you guys to use that, especially now that Pride is sponsoring us. That would be nice if they could see their name on everything possible that we could put it on. I would really appreciate that very much. Anything else? Anybody?
No, someone's asking what date is our Clear Lake event, and I'm pretty sure, isn't it the 21st? It's on a Sunday.
21st, it's a Sunday.
Yes, it's a Sunday. Mark and I initially had that set for the 20th, but Fish and Game got in touch with me and said, "Hey, can you move it to another day? Because we already have like 4 tournaments that day." And I was like, "Sure, will the 21st work?" And they were like, "Oh, absolutely. That's the same weekend. It's the day after, So we were kind of voluntold to move it to the 21st. So that's what we done. So, yeah, it'll be on the 21st of April.
No, that actually helps out greatly because I'm going to be fit. I think me, Ryan, Pooh, all 3 of us will be fishing another tournament on that Saturday, the 20th.
Right. I think Ryan and I were talking about that, and that way y'all can hit, the Saturday and then the Sunday tournament work out good
Correct.
for y'all.
Yeah. Yep.
So, all right. So, Pooh, I'm going to put you on the spot here again. So, is there anything that we could do different, better, anything that we could change to make your experience better?
Everything seems fine to me. Except just like what Darren was saying. I mean, I know you guys have those identifiers on the website. But yeah, maybe throw the sponsors on some of the new tags, and it's all good with me.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yep.
I just want to make sure that if I'm falling short somewhere, I'd rather you tell me than I would somebody else, because I promise you can ask these guys that's been with me for a while. I don't have a problem filling in the gaps. So, well, guys, if you don't have anything else, again, I want to offer all you guys a congratulations on the Delta. I know it was tough for some of you, but Gustavo took first, Dana Graves second, Pua third, David, I guess you'd say his name, Owen.
Owen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mark took fourth, and Keith Govia was sixth. And then everybody else had a tough day after that. So,
bunch of donuts.
I think the next Delta, is that going to be members or is that open as well? Because I saw there's another Delta in May.
They're all open.
No, it's in June.
In June.
Yeah, they're all
open.
open.
Wants 8 hours. And one turn, he only did like 2 hours in this one.
Yeah, that's what he was telling us. So Gustavo, I know you're kind of new to us, so let me tell you about the members only thing. Occasionally we'll do like a members only tournament, but the scheduled tournaments that we have now, they're all open to anybody that wants to fish them. I might pop up a members only big fish tournament or members only EIC tournament, which stands for every inch counts or something,
Yeah.
and it might just be a random, hey, I might say on Wednesday, hey, we're having a EIC tournament. It may be like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and you can choose 2 of those 4 days to fish. And that kind of gives those guys that are weekend workers a chance to fish Friday and Monday. And then the week worker guys have Saturday and Sunday. You know what I mean? So it kind of levels the playing field a little bit. So those are what the members only type stuff is.
All right.
And Angler of the Year points.
Yeah. Angler of the Year, in order for your points to count in the tournaments, you have to be a paid member of Greenfish Nation, which is $25. I think we discussed that last night. But yeah, if you're in gonna try to be in contention for Angler of the Year, you'll need your membership to be paid for that. So, but well, guys, do y'all have anything else? Questions, comments, cussing, or discussing?
No, I think that was good. Well, thank you, John, for putting these on for us. Really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. I really enjoy it.
Thanks, John.
You bet. Gustavo, are you
Yeah,
drinking?
thank you, man. Oh no, I just came back from the gym. That's why I was running late, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I gotta drink water.
Hey, I hear you. All right, guys. Well, I guess I will let you guys go, and I'm going to get off here and shut this thing down. We've been on here for about 37 minutes. I think if anybody else was going to join us, they already would have. Let's see what comments we got coming up. Thanks all. I'm going to have to hit the Delta. Next Delta event. Well, Rich, we'd love to have you. Well, guys, I appreciate you again for fishing with us and for giving me an opportunity to prove myself to not only you, but to the state of California, and for you guys letting me earn a little bit more of your trust. So until next time, guys, I'm going to let y'all go, and I'm going to finish this thing up and get out of here. Okay.
All right. Thanks, John.
All right, later,
Thanks,
guys.
John.
All right.
Thank
Hey,
you.
guys.
Yeah.
Have a good week, go.
All right, guys, that is the California Delta Anglers. We got a little recap from each and every one of them. Guys, I really appreciate you joining us tonight. And don't forget to get over there on that internet and look up Pride Rods at www.priderods.com. Those guys have some amazing American-made rods. They would love to put one in your hands, and I would love for them to put one in your hands. Don't forget to check us out over on YouTube at Bass Fishing with Greenfish Nation. Also, we can be found at Greenfish Nation Kayak Tournament Series Trails and Challenges on Facebook. Until next time, guys, I'm John, and I want to wish you tight lines. God bless.
Thank you again for joining our podcast. We appreciate your continued support. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube at Bass Fishing with Greenfish Nation. Check us out on Facebook at the group Greenfish Nation Kayak Tournament Series, Trails and Challenges. We can also be found on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok under the handle Greenfish Nation. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm John, and I want to wish you tight lines, guys.